Welcome to the Darkstream. Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com. And I have no idea whether this is actually going out to anyone or not, but we're going to give it a try. So today, it's looking all clear for the 2020 Trump landslide, or as I prefer to call it, the Trumpslide. Now I have, okay, people are actually showing up. What do you know? That's cool. Oh, and we actually have this chat going here too as well. That works. Nice. So, does the sound good? Sound is good. Yeah, happy Good Friday to everyone. Happy Good Friday to the reprehensibles, to the unauthorized, to the VFM, to the Dread Ilk, and to the Bears. I'm on the road here, so I'm gonna have to make some adjustments here. See what we're doing. Yeah, I haven't turned the camera off. It's gonna look a little strange. I'm just seeing if I can change the font settings a bit. There we go. Doesn't seem to have made a damn bit of difference, but that's okay. So, I am here in sunny Spain. It's all good. And we are just getting accustomed. Sound only in left channel. Can't really do anything about that right now. I'm also not using my proper camera for some reason. It didn't like the streaming software I normally use, so this is about as ad hoc a arrangement as you can possibly imagine. I'll look into the sound when I can. I'll take a quick look here, see if there's anything. Yeah, I don't see anything there. I think that's... does that make any difference? Let me know if that makes any difference. Just trying to see what's going on here. So, glad to see a couple people who tell me that they've just joined Unauthorized TV. That's awesome. Thanks very much. We appreciate it. By the way, one thing I'd like to point out is that the because of PayPal's treatment of Owen, we have shut off the PayPal connection to Unauthorized. If you've already paid with PayPal, that's cool. You're still good. But if you did a month-long subscription, whether it's Feed the Bear, whether it's a basic or premium subscription, you're going to need to change your subscription to a credit card. We are not going to be dependent on PayPal. We don't think that that is a wise option. And let me see, I think I can, somebody just asked if I'm going to do super chats. I think I can. Let me make sure that I have access to them. Let's see here. Jeez. Okay. All right. And yes, we do have access to super chats. So we can do super chats today if anyone is so inclined. Let me just... I apologize for the awkwardness here, but I'm just trying to figure out what we're... I'm using I'm using a different streaming software, a different camera, a different microphone, and I'm in a different location. Spence Hadan says, I'm going to church for Easter for the first time in my life this year. Good for you. Thanks to you and the Big Bear for helping me toward the truth. I'm looking forward to the Mere Christianity book club. Excellent. We're going to start that, and I'm delighted to hear it. I'm delighted to hear that people are connecting or reconnecting to the Christian faith for the first time. Yeah, please get crypto working. Some of us don't have credit cards. Yeah, we're gonna find all kinds of solutions. I mean, you need to keep in mind that there's a pretty big system here, and so we can't make changes overnight. Like, for example, we're going to have direct chat working on unauthorized TV on May 1st, but it's not going to have the chat feature enabled. They were unable to get that going in time, and so there's still going to be need to do restreaming most likely with YouTube and so forth. So everything is taking one step at a time, and sometimes we're anticipating, like with that's the reason that we cut PayPal off. We could sit around and do nothing and hope that PayPal wouldn't then attack unauthorized. But considering how we saw the situation develop with Owen, we figured, why wait for it? We don't want to work with those guys. Why should unauthorized work with those guys and give them the benefit of it if they're going to behave that way to our talent? It's not right. And we have other alternatives, and we prefer those other alternatives. Cave Bear quotes Matthew 27:51. The temple curtain was torn in two from top to bottom. Of course, that's a reference to what happened after Jesus died on the cross, and the temple curtain was torn in two. Hollywood Hulk Hogan says, everybody knows Ben Shapiro is the leader of the alt-right. The Washington Post said so. Yeah, exactly. How can anyone doubt it? Man Bear Pig says, why not open source the platform and let us all help with pull requests with features? I doubt you're breaking any new ground tech-wise. There's a lot of reasons not to do that, most of which involve the fact that we've already got something that's working. We're not going to go back to ground zero at this point and start that over. We might do something like that down the road, but we already have two major projects going with InfoGalactic and Social Galactic. We don't want to start yet another new development project on top of that. C-Speak says, probably suggests already, but I apologize, but would the virtue of nationalism suit book club? I don't think so. It's a decent book, but I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Shay Quinn says, I'm no expert, and I have a question. Why do Christians have holidays not instructed by God to be celebrated, yet do not celebrate the feast that God does instruct his people? Because it's a new covenant. These celebrations are just celebrations. You don't need to be instructed by God to celebrate something. But here's the thing, you guys. You need to stop. Fozzie Bear says, I came to warn you of the revenge of the Siths. We're coming for your PayPal. Glad you're on top of it. You guys need to stop warning people of things that, we were dealing with issues with PayPal long ago. I don't have any issue with PayPal. We know all about what they do. And so, but a lot of you guys seem to enjoy warning people and darkly prophesying things. That's demoralizing to people. Don't do that. Okay? If you're going to, first of all, if you're ever going to warn somebody about something, you should be doing it privately, not publicly. If you're doing it publicly, it's because you want to get some credit for doing so. But it would take somebody with an IQ considerably lower than the average one here to fail to recognize that the fact that PayPal targeted Owen was an indication that they were probably going to target unauthorized at some point in time. So we got rid of it. I mean, you notice we didn't even hesitate. We literally got rid of it the very first opportunity we had. And I'm sorry if that causes any difficulties in switching over subscriptions and stuff for those of you who did subscribe through PayPal. And we do appreciate that you did, but I would encourage you, when you get the opportunity, to switch your subscription over from PayPal to credit card. Credit cards are a lot less converged for the very simple reason that they have tons of global competition. And I can assure you the credit card companies in Japan and China and Russia and Eastern Europe don't give a damn about what American SJWs think should be permitted to do business or not. CDIP227 says, hey Vox, do you believe the civil rights movement was bad? Yes, the civil rights movement was an absolute disaster for the United States of America, and it was probably the second worst thing for the United States after the 1965 Naturalization Act. Do you believe African Americans are civil? Every single group of people in the world are capable of being civil, and every single group of people in the world are capable of behaving badly, uncivil, in an uncivilized manner. Thank you for your insights. You're welcome. Spirit Bear throws in $1. Thank you. Enrique Lau says, I signed up for the premium membership. Will a portion go to the Big Bear? Yes, absolutely. You can't, here's the problem. You can't get separate subscriptions. You cannot get different subscriptions. The system doesn't allow it. Actually, in fact, that's what I was talking with the technical guys today about. There's actually a very good reason for it. It's a lot more complicated than it looks. What I would recommend that you do if you want to support more than one person, the best thing you can do is sign up for a premium membership. Big Bear actually makes more from a premium membership than he does from a Feed the Bear membership. So if your primary goal is to feed the bear, but you also want to support the channel and some of the other creators, premium's the way to go. Vox, do you agree with the common thought about heaven and hell? Probably not, although I don't even know what that is. Rick Farwell wanted to note that he had trouble with his Discover card, but MasterCard was no problem. We've heard a couple people say Discover can be a bit tricky. Also, in terms of supporting Owen, we are going to be, an excellent way to do so is we are going to be publishing 2 audiobooks by him very soon on Archaven Comics. And so, if you want to, because people have been saying they're a little frustrated because they said, we'd like to offer additional support for Owen, but we can't do because they were asking, can you do a second subscription for him or something, something bigger than the $5 monthly subscription? And the answer is no, we can't, but we can come up with other solutions and ideas. And we're going to have 2 audiobooks coming out as soon as he finishes them. And it's not going to be our regular deal. Most of that is going to go towards supporting Owen. So we're working on it. David says the Swedish Lutheran Church is losing over 100,000 members a year 50% of priests are women. Should women be priests? No, they should not. That's directly in contradiction to the Bible. The reason that the Swedish Lutheran Church is dying is because the Swedish Lutheran Church is disobeying the Bible, disobeying the Word of God. This is a reliable pattern. In every single church, you can see the pattern that if they violate the prescription laid out in the New Testament for how a church is to be run, that church will die. You can see it. It's reliable. It happens every single time. I don't think that there is a single church or denomination anywhere in the world that began permitting female priests and pastors that has grown. Because if you're going to abandon the tenets of the faith, there's no reason for people to be there. Convergence always kills. Convergence is a corporate cancer. And I say corporate not in the sense of just corporations, but any organization. Per se says the current electric vehicle fleet has cut down oil production 250 to 300,000 barrels per day. Could electric vehicles bankrupt OPEC and other oil-producing nations? If it's cut it down that much, then yeah, it certainly could, especially if some of these countries are successful in getting people to switch over to electric vehicles. Will unauthorized feature InfoWars? No, they've already got their own network. I mean, there's no reason for it. We want to, we want to create something that is its own channel. So there's no, we're also not going to feature content from ABC or Netflix. Daco said, I share an office with Gamma. His comments make my skin crawl. Relocating would create stress for my alpha. Wife suggests headphones, seems unprofessional. I think that you're better off just... Anyhow, I think that you should just relocate and not blame it directly on him so that, you don't become a target for gamma rage. But get yourself out of the situation. Gareth Thompson says, what do you think is going to happen in France on Saturday? I have no idea. I don't even know what we're talking about here. But I would assume that the Gilets jaunes are going to be energized and angry because of what happened to the Notre Dame Cathedral. CDIP wants to know, why was the civil rights movement bad? Because it destroyed the constitutional right of freedom of association. It created conflict. Remember, diversity plus proximity equals conflict. And so civil rights is all about attacking the actual constitutional rights of everyone. There's nothing whatsoever good about civil rights. Think about it. There's a reason why they needed to add that new construction, why they needed to add that new adjective in front of the word rights. Either you've got rights or you don't. Social justice is not justice. In the same way, civil rights are not actual rights. Actual rights, the kind guaranteed by the Constitution, are unalienable rights given by God. Civil rights are ersatz rights created by government. Totally different. Gary Leroy says they're trying to destroy Owen because he reaches so many people. Absolutely they are. And so that's why it's incumbent on all of us to give him the support he requires to prevent that from happening. Because, once they're confident that they can do that sort of thing, they will do it to literally everybody that they can. Daco says, tried neutral music, but Gamma talks over it. Any practical suggestions outside of stoicism and relocating? I'm 30, gamma is 60-ish. I mean, that you just need to, then you need to directly confront him and tell him to stop. You know, you could also get political if you wanted. He's bound to be making some statements that break some rule. You know, just start filing complaints. Use the rules. I mean, one of the biggest weaknesses that people on the right seem to have is that they don't understand how to play by the rules. Learn what the rules of the office are and play by them. Vox, do you think Christians should do like the Muslim Community Patrol in New York and enforce their own rules like a religious police? No, I think that that they should actually do what they used to do and pass the laws accordingly and enforce them and use the real police. Ben Darling wants to know if my trip to Spain has anything to do with the Vox Party being banned from television in Spain. We don't talk about that. Vox, do you drink caffeine? Absolutely. Leo the Great says, would you accept a Trinity debate? No. If you are proven wrong, will you accept the Trinity and repent? No and no. You can't prove the Trinity. It's not possible. Trust me, first of all, I'm familiar with literally every argument that you have. Okay? I don't deny the possibility of the Trinity. I simply refuse to positively affirm my belief in something that I don't know. And again, as I've said before, my position is actually the more traditional Christian one. I subscribe to the actual Nicene Creed. Most of you who think you subscribe to the Nicene Creed actually subscribe to the Niceno-Constantinian Creed. There is a difference. So, but I do not think that it is a difference that is worth arguing or getting worked up about. And given that my position was shared by Isaac Newton, I feel pretty comfortable, at least on the intellectual side. But again, I'm entirely open to the possibility that the Trinity, in the sense of the conventional Niceno-Constantinian understanding of it, is the case. There's a difference between a lack of positive belief and active disbelief. You know, my philosophy is essentially Pauline, which is we see through a glass darkly, so stop trying to act as if you don't. Read Throne of Bones recently, so good. If you're even remotely curious, I highly recommend picking it up. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate that. I highly recommend the audio book because Jeremy Dodge did such a great job on it. I mean, even if you've read the book itself, which of course is the ideal thing to do, the audiobook really gives a different flavor to it. Daniel says the area throughout history that had the most progress was where 3 continents of different cultures and climates connected in South Europe, East Asia, and North Africa. Is this evidence of multiculturalism working and flourishing? No, not at all. Because when yes, those cultures interacted in some ways, but no progress was taking place when the Mongols were culturally enriching Asia and Europe. No progress took place when the Muslim eruption ended up severing the links between the Eastern and the Western Roman Empire. In fact, to the extent that there was any actual Dark Ages, which of course is essentially a myth, the loss of the information outside of the monasteries was mostly the result of the Muslim invasions. You know, if you're warring in 500 years across Spain, probably not a lot of peaceful, prosperous advancement. Ben Darling says that Ben Shapiro makes the same point about social justice not being justice. Probably got it from Vox. It's actually, that's not impossible given our mutual time at WorldNet Daily, but it's actually originally from Friedrich Hayek. No, the open society is not open. Let's see here. So, yeah, like somebody said, there's only one baptism in the Bible, baptism in the name of Jesus. You know, and that's the key thing. And this is, on Good Friday, that's a good time to remind people what matters is Jesus Christ. What matters is what's in your heart. All the extraneous structure and dogma and rules and interpretations and so forth, that's not what Christianity is about. Yes, these things grow up and get attached like barnacles to everything eventually in time. Any organization, it doesn't matter if it's a soccer team, it doesn't matter if it's a religious faith, it doesn't matter what it is. These things always end up, these accretions always end up being attached to the heart of the matter, but never ever confuse these external attachments to the core, the core and the essence of the original thing. Jesus Christ, a fallen world, sacrifice, resurrection, redemption, and salvation. These are the elements that matter. Don't get caught up in all the theological nonsense. If sigmas are mutant alphas, do you think that mutant bravos and deltas might exist? Or is being outside the hierarchy limited to sigmas and omegas? I don't think so, because I don't see how you could be a bravo or be a delta and be outside the hierarchy. I don't think that works. Lightning in my hand says, can we get a Darkstream about the Reconquista? Absolutely. We might even do a Voxiversity about it eventually. Unforgivable says, do you think we will see an escalation in political violence in the next election? Actually, no, I don't think so. He says he's curious if the ramped up rhetoric online will play out in real life. I don't think so, because I think that the left is going to be demoralized by Trump blowing away whatever sacrificial lamb the Democrats end up offering up. Cohen Mulder said, please tell me I didn't miss the puppy. No puppies here. Well, that's not quite true. None of our puppies here. Defiance Bear said, if the South were allowed to secede and we didn't go down the road leading to the Civil Rights Act, do you think we'd be having our current problems? Some of them, yes. We would be having most of the problems, because most of the problems actually stem from the debt situation and the immigration situation. The civil rights situation, isn't close to either of those. The Beast says Christianity is being removed from Europe. No, it's not. Christianity has been in an ebb, and now it's beginning to gather steam again and gather force. That's why do you think all the drums are beating in the media, desperately trying to get people to shut down and silence Christians and nationalists? They don't do that because they're doing well. They do that because they don't have the advantage anymore in the messages. Foxwolf Bear says, if lambdas are gay, what are bisexual men? I don't know. I don't care. What are they if they return to being straight? They're still whatever they are. I mean, they're probably still lambda because they're not behaving according to the hierarchy. Let's see here. Crash Hard just says, great to catch you live, Vox. Yeah, it's nice to actually shake it up a little bit. Like I said, this is a little bit of an ad hoc arrangement, but at least it works. And so I'll see what I can do to get this working properly. Winter White says, will someone please tell me where to go to catch up on all this Alpha Sigma Omega talk? Go to the Voxiversity channel and watch 3 videos: the social sexual hierarchy, Alpha, and Gamma. That will get you caught up. This is a good point by Serge B. For human reason, the doctrine of the Most Holy Trinity is contradictory because it is a mystery that cannot be expressed rationally. Vox is on point. Yeah, I mean, this is why I find it a little bit annoying that people want to turn it into an argument. It's not an argument. We don't understand. We don't understand what the truth is. We probably can't truly understand what the truth is. So let's stop pretending that we can. And let's not focus on, the Christian equivalent of the law and the dogma. Let's focus on the core of the faith. Let me make sure I may have missed a super chat or two, so let me just check this out quickly. I did miss a few from before. Oh, do you fear AI and the effect it will have on human culture and spirituality? A little bit, but as somebody who has designed AI before, I'm also kind of enthusiastic about them. So I'm a little bit torn on the subject. Alt Hero Q, Voxay Respector says, Alt Hero Q is great. Next Avalon when? Very soon. We just got the colors for what are either Avalon 4 or 5, so it's coming pretty soon. Let's see. Michael Craighead said, just bought Mere Christianity from Castelli House. Can't wait for the book club discussions. Not much of a reader, but hope to change that. Thanks, Vox. That's great, because I highly recommend reading. There's no substitute for it. KKK says, hey, can you show us a bicep flex? No, I'm not a cam whore. Regardless of what my wife may imply. Vox, do you believe that redacted? And what are your thoughts on part of ongoing investigation? And as always, thanks for redacted. Well, that's exactly, I do believe it. My thoughts on the ongoing investigation are unfortunately not something I can disclose at this time. But you are very welcome for the aforementioned redacted. Let's see. Okay, then some of the old ones. Mulbear asked, any chance for an unauthorized series on music history logos? I enjoyed Owen's talk with Dr. EMJ on classical music. Sure. If we can find the right person, why not? Joshua Bryant says, thanks for the hierarchy theory. Low, high, delta, or gamma was a helpful distinction. I couldn't locate myself without it. That's fine and all, but remember, it's not about you. It's about you using it to help you better understand and anticipate other people. And we're caught up. Woo-hoo. Okay, we were caught up. Ted Musha sends 5, thank you. And Michelle says, appreciate your intelligence, honesty, and Christian values. Trying to open my sister's eyes. They think the mainstream media is absolute honesty. Yeah, that can be tough to address, tough to crack. But yeah, the mainstream media are total liars. Any thoughts on the SCP Foundation? I don't know what the SCP Foundation is, so unless you can spell it out for me, I don't know. Will Jordan Peterson's tears cause the next apocalyptic flood? Obviously not, because considering how much he cried about getting deplatformed from Cambridge, I think if he was going to cause a flood, it would have already happened. I don't think it'd be possible for anyone to cry more than that. Let's see. Yes, the stream is mono for some reason that we don't know, and I'm not going to wrestle with it now. But I should also mention what the putative title of this particular Darkstream. The Mueller report was a complete clearing of Trump. You can see this just from the reaction of the Democrats. Yes, you have a few people saying, "Oh, this is very, Podesta, whatever, from his hiding place in New Zealand or where he is, saying, well, this is very bad for Trump." No, it's not. If it was, they'd be celebrating it. They wouldn't be complaining about it. We know this. And so if you look at how this should free up the God Emperor's hands, it will be really good to see him go on the offensive. Newt Gingrich, of all people, actually had a pretty intelligent take on it, where he said, every time one of his advisors said, "Mr. President, you can't do that, it's illegal," Trump said, "Oh, okay, I guess we won't do that." It's the exact opposite of the Nixon tapes. And so, this is actually a more complete clearing of Trump's name and character and presidency, and it's actually much, much better for President Trump than I had imagined it would be. Leo the Great asks, when is the Delta video coming out? Well, I have to record it first, so I don't know. We're doing one on graduating gamma next. Let's see. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss any more questions here. But the big thing is too that the Mueller report indicates that the Trumpslide in 2020 that I have predicted since the day after the 2016 election is going to happen. The Democrats don't have anyone who appears to be anywhere close to offering serious competition to Trump. Biden is throwing his, Creepy Joe is throwing his hat in the ring. There's not a chance that Biden can beat Trump. One Creepy Joe, and Biden's is going to be destroyed. Creepy Joe is much worse than Crooked Hillary in terms of trying to appeal to folks. Ted Musha says, "Hey Vox, just bought The Irrational Atheist and can't wait to read it. Any tips before I do?" Yes. Don't go off to Las Vegas and become a stripper just because some of the concepts in there upset your apple cart. And lest you think that that's a joke, that literally happened. Duralex Sedlex says, Secure, Contain, Protect Foundation is a creepypasta wiki about a secret society that deals with anomalous objects and creatures dangerous to normalcy. Was good before it was converged. Yeah, I have no opinion whatsoever on that. It sounds like something that some nerds did that got converged, which is usually what happens to things that nerds do. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Congratulations to Space Bunny. She got suspended by Twitter again. So I'm always proud of my wife and amused by the fact that she gets in trouble faster than I do. It's always a bit amusing when when people would discover that we were connected. Because she had her own completely separate following, which was kind of amusing. Anyhow, but if you look at to getting back to the 2020 election, I mean, seriously, who's going to beat him? Cory Booker? Not a chance. I mean, Booker's got like more than a foot in the closet. I'm Free asks, is Owen still being paid by PayPal through Uscreen? No, everything's shut off. We shut PayPal. We shut all the PayPal stuff off entirely. If it's going to be a problem, we just don't want to take the risk of it being a problem. So, if you're a subscriber to unauthorized using PayPal, you're going to have to switch over to credit card. Let's see here. Vox, you should stream on DLive. We'll look into it, but we're probably going to, we're going to be adding direct streaming from unauthorized very soon. So that's probably where we're all eventually going to be streaming. Bass Player Bear says, Vox only reads super chats? No, that's not true. I've probably answered 15 or 20 questions that are not super chats already. Trent Drummond says, do you think Cory Booker is gay? I don't know, but there are a lot of people who seem to think so. And a lot of people who have seemed to have thought so for a long time. Trump won Florida by 2016 by 110,000 votes. 135 Puerto Ricans moved to Florida after the hurricane. Doesn't that mean it's all over for Trump in 2020? No, of course not. That's ridiculous. Because people vote differently over time. People change, the more and more whites are going to vote Republican as time goes on. That's why all of these predictions about, we'll never have another Republican president again and so forth. Well, yeah, that would be true if the voting patterns remained exactly the same, but they're not. Whites, and to a lesser extent, Asians and even some blacks are going to vote Republican because they don't like the results of the mass immigration and so forth that the Democrats are pushing any better than the whites do. And so it's a dynamic situation. It reminds me, actually, that reasoning reminds me of the state revenue offices who convince the politicians to raise the tax rates because they say, we'll bring in more money. And the problem that they forget is that taxpayers can move. So they raise the taxes to bring in more money. Taxpayers move, and then despite the higher rates they bring in lower tax revenues than they did before. This happens time and time again. So don't make that same mistake. Always look at the dynamic element. Don't try to judge dynamic things by static standards. Joe Gagnon says, ongoing support for all your efforts. Thanks very much. Enjoying the fight. The NPCs will never stop. We are smarter and more resilient. Absolutely. And we have more stamina. It was interesting because we had this long legal hearing last night in relation to the Indiegogo situation. And we just laugh because whenever they're trying to play the games of dragging this out and stuff, we're like, fine, go for it. Drag it out to the end of 2020 if you like. We'll be here. We'll still be going strong. And so you just have to learn that the conflict is part of your existence now. It's not all of it. It's not your life. I spend most of my time not thinking about these things at all. But when I think about these things, I think about in the context of it will be this way always. Satan never goes away. The demons never sleep. The NPCs they will always make more NPCs. I don't know how many people it takes to do a 911. Don't ask questions like that. I mean, unless you're like, trying to get these things banned and so forth, don't try to do that sort of thing. Have you done a Darkstream on the magic dirt theory? No, I haven't. I should. I really should. Any thoughts on Sargon running for Parliament? Well, he's not any dumber than any other British politician. Apparently I did do one on Magic Dirt. Sorry about that. Dennis says, I'm enjoying the Throne of Bones audio. You do good battle. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. All right, I got to roll because my battery is about to run out. So thanks very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this ad hoc day stream. And we will do, I'm sure, another one in the near future. And there may even be a dark stream tonight. Depends on how I can get the gear set up. So have a good evening. Look forward to seeing you soon. And remember that it's all clear for the 2020 Trumpslide. This is the Darkstream. I'm Vox Day.